Hi guys, this is a Let's Play walkthrough of Legendary Kingdoms. I will be starting at Book 1, Valley of the Bones, which is down in the bottom right corner as you can see. I will be using the Legendary Kingdoms companion that a fan has created, which is officially endorsed by Spider-Man Games. So yeah, let's see how we do. To start with, I'll be going through what I've already done on the adventure, and once I get to the point where I've got to, I'll then be doing the dice rolls, from that point onwards. So for the first part of the adventure, then I won't be doing dice rolls because I've already done them, and I'm just retracing my course as I went through. But once I get past that point, then I'll be continuing with the dice rolls using the app part in the game. Well, sorry, in the app companion, I should say. So yeah, so starting in the Valley of the Bones, my characters I chose was Tasha, Brush, a Cairo of Chalice, and Amelia Pastane. There are the four characters I selected. Spells. Well, I've only got one spellcaster in my selected characters, which is Amelia Pastane. Spells that I chose were Animal Speech, Magic Cabinet, which is always good for storage. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be good for storage. Poison Stream, and yeah, they're the three that I started with. As you can see, I can only select up to 3 spells per character. I'm going to call this pretty simply Legendary Kingdom. Okay, so yep, that's basically it started. I'm just going to just look through this because I haven't really used much of it. So location 1, that is basically the book number of our page. Like 1, if it was say page chapter say 75, it'll change up to 75, it'll be 75. Skill team check lets me check the skills combining the 2 characters. Health means I can add and remove health for all of the characters at once. Money is basically 0. Fault, as I have the ability but I don't have anything stored in it at this time. Codes, these all relate to basically certain choices in the story. If you as you go along, you'll get certain places where it says note code so and so, and like code A2 for example, then I'll basically put A2. Then if I come back into it later, I know I've got code A2, and then so I can adjust the story accordingly. So I'm going to leave it off. So this is the dice roller. Not really sure how it works on that. So I might do like that, or might just do normal dice. decide as I get to it. Probably in part 2. They call it exit game, basically means it gets back up to here. Settings lets you change between the 2 books that are basically out, so to speak. Valley of Bones is the one we've been starting on. The Crown Tower is book 2, which has just gone through its Kickstarter and it's not out to everybody yet. That's the dice rolling ability, so I can always just turn that off, which I'll probably do for now. And then you got the language of English. For click delete app data, it'll delete save file and everything. So load game basically loads up my game, and when the new game, then I can basically start it all over again, or continue game just continues back into the game. So as I say, even though I've not got the webcam on facing me so you can see my wondrous face, which I'm sure you don't really want to see, I do have my own copy of Legendary Kingdoms in front of me. Now I'll be reading through the story as we basically progress, and you will hear me flipping the pages of the book as we go around. So I hope you come through nice, loud and clear. So, page 1. You stir into consciousness, heat and blazing sunlight, and the slow rumble of a wagon. Heavy chains upon your limbs, you groan, your mouth dry, your stomach empty. As your eyes focus, you can see your companions, fellow survivors of the brutal pirate attack, crushed together with you upon the floor of a rolling wagon. You remember little since then, as that vowing to your newfound friends that you will stick together, come what may. You are relieved to see that you're all still alive, but where are you? Gazing through the bars of the wagon, your eyes focus on the blazing yellow-grey desert. To your left, filling the sky, are the stone walls, a massive and impenetrable mountain range that defies the barbarian kingdoms of the south from the antique and mysterious lands of Drake Hollow. But what side of the range are you on? The answer becomes immediately apparent as you look beyond the smutty draynocks which are purportedly holding your cage. A fast crumbling city of marionettes and rundown adobe buildings fill your view. The sting in the air and on your lips tell you all you need to know. This is Saltdad, core throne of the tyrant Iron King, one of a dozen tin pot dictators in the barbaric Valley of Bones. You are far from civilized lands here. Thin-faced slavers with spears rattle the sides of your cage, beckoning you to get down. You slump on your hindquarters. For the moment, there is nothing you can do with you or your companions in chains. You swear you will regain your freedom and start your lives anew, but first, you must survive the horrors of slavery. I've got to go page 631, so I'm just changing the page. The slavers have sold you to the dreaded Saltdad Arena, a grim place where the poor and criminals alike fight to the death for the savage entertainment of the crowd. If you have code A1, okay. On the choices, I'm just going to go through and say what we got. I don't have any codes, so the first 2 I ignore. So, and as it's the first time I've been sold to the arena, I need to go to page 271. Okay, 271. The Saltdad Arena is the second largest complex in the city, with only the ancient palace looming larger. Its dungeons go deep into the earth, where prisoners, slaves and monstrous animals are kept in large vaults, with only a feeblest light pouring through the barbed arches set high in the ceilings. Your quarters are a large and ancient hall, whose walls bear the signals and fading walls of a more civilized age. Within this chamber are crammed nearly 100 hungry captives, sleeping rough upon the gravel floor, and revealing themselves in sinking buckets stacked in the far corner. You ask about feeding arrangements from one of your fellow prisoners, who give you hollered looks. You'll know it when it happens, he warns. Suddenly, a hatch at the top of the hall is swung open, and a barely cooked carcass of a mountain goat is dropped casually into the middle of the hall. There is a great crush as the prisoners surge as one to tear off strips of flesh from the animal. A group of strong men from Lebereth, slaves like you, batter the crowd away with threats, claiming first rights over the animal. You are starving. Okay, options. Challenge the men to first rights over the meat, or attempt to side with the men to ensure you get something, or wait your turn to get something to eat. I chose to fight for the adventure. Well, right, fight for the meat. So 212. Puffing yourselves up, you and your companions put on a brave show before the slaves, shoving them hard and roaring bold threats. This will require a good deal of bravery and force. I did the team check for the fighting and I passed it, so I got to go to page 526. Okay, your physical strength and martial techniques intimidate the slaves, who grumble and back down, allowing you to rip the choicest and best cooked flesh off the goat first. One of the slaves, a fellow Truman, mutters dark with warnings about revenge. Snarling at him, you retreat to a corner to finish your food. Gain the code A2 and turn to A165. So we've got our first code. So I'm just going to add that into the companion. So 865. Okay. 865. You are almost relieved when the court overseers of the arena call you out of the filthy living hall for your first battle. You are fed water by children wearing neck chains in a narrow, dusty chamber, who present it to you in deep bowls from which you are expected to slurp. One of the children, a pretty blonde girl called Melissa, quietly advises you to keep to the edge of the arena and not to engage in a central melee. Don't use magic, she hisses. They'll take your tongue. Guards push you on before you can question her further. You are unchained and shoved into one of the gate rooms. Through the heavy portcullis, you can hear the crowd muttering in anticipation. You can see a number of crude weapons laid out for selection. Any party member may take a single crude blade, in addition a single wooden shield, and a maul. They're all here to be taken. Remember, a maul is a two-handed weapon and it can't be used with a shield. As soon as the portcullis opens to a roar from the crowd, blinking on the glare of the sun, you emerge into the deadly arena. 835. There was almost a full crowd in the arena, huge arena. with rich and poor alike rubbing shoulders and long wooden benches. On the sandy and blood-stained floor of the arena are a number of bones and skulls, actively left to bleach in the sun. You can see that all 10 gatehouses have opened, escorting teams of poorly armed slaves. Some are fearless men and women from Chalice, who do not so much as flinch as the crowds roar for the blood. Bold barbarians of Lith's breath hold their armed weapons high as to seek endorsement from the bloody-minded crowd. Most of the warriors, however, look more like frightened peasants, mere fodder for the skilled warriors of this arena. Sitting high above the arena upon a throne-like seat is the Iron King himself, a black-bearded middle-aged man, his jagged iron brows sitting proudly on his skull. Next to him stands his bodyguard, the fearsome Maronic the Death Engine. A solid metal golem was cast in the elder age of sorcery and has turned aside the blaze of distant assassins. As a cold and distant oration from the king, the battle begins. One team of excited youths from the gates, adjacent to you, makes a sudden rush, hoping to catch you off guard. The crowd roar in joy. The bloodshed is about to begin. You must fight. I apologise for not quite getting some of the words correct in the story, but this is my first attempt at, reading an adventure story, while streaming, recording live. The battle was between some slaves and a leader. I managed to win the fight and have to go to page 107. Okay, I've got a question here. 107. If Jessica Dane is in your party, I need to go to one page. If not, I'll go to another. Well, I do not have Sir Jessica Dane in my party, so I need to go to page 753. Okay, 753. The arena is a swirl of swords and axe blades. The crowd cheering is blood is spilled and bodies fall. In the centre, the greatest fighters have gathered into a spectacular melee, while out on the outskirts, the cowardly and the injured seek momentary respite. Do you want to A. leap into the central battle fearlessly, or B. hang back until the fight comes to you? Well, remembering the message I got from the slave girl before it came out, she said to stay on the edges. So we're going to stay at the edges. Let's go to page 550. There was no point in provoking anything. You would rather deal with wounded and exhausted opponents than arena champions. You cast your eyes wearily across the exterior of the battle. If you have code A3, go to one page, otherwise carry on. I don't have A3 code, so reading on. An arrow thudding into the ground near you, launched from one of the arena guards, spurs you back into action. Clearly you must fight hard or be executed. Hurriedly you engage with the dregs of the fight to keep busy. You got some slaves to fight, and I actually beat them. So go to page 71. With a final flourish, you slay your last opponent. Although there are other living slaves in the arena, the battle suddenly stops as the Iron King stands. In a thickly accented voice, the king declares you champions of the arena. The crowd go wild, cheering you heartily as you catch your breath from the intense battle. Any hopes that you had of being made champions would grant you freedom are soon quashed. Instead, you are disarmed. All the weapons are picked up, basically discard back into the the prison guards' hands. You're then led back into the dungeons to nurse your wounds. We've got to go to page 608. Did any party members use magic whilst in the arena? No, we didn't. So none of them were taken away to have their tongues cut out by the guards. So we're fine on that part. We're still, okay with the health. Turn to page 792. Ooh, this is a big chapter. 792. As arena champions, your quarters are improved a little. You now have your own cell to sleep in. Half the size of the inn with a sturdy straw mattress. In addition, you're given some basic training from an experienced gladiator called Chulong, who claims to be a sword saint from the nearby city of Chalice. The meals are slightly better too, with Milagros, the slave girl, serving your rice and cooked meat as well as your water ration. All your party members can restore 4 health, so that just restored the health from which we lost in the fights. Between training bouts, you have many talks with Chilong, who is damned of the Iron King's warship as Salt Dad. I care not who hears it, the man is a tyrant, he exhorts. Life is hard in the valley, but wanton callers such as his is uncalled for. It sticks in my throat that I fight for his pleasure. I had heard that all of the kings of the valley are petty tyrants who say between mouthfuls of water. It was not always so, Mrs. Shillong. In times past we were ruled by a noble queen, the immortal Everchild, who cared more for her people than her comfort. After the destruction left by the demon lord Abraxas, all that was left was ruins. Without her leadership, the people of the valley became little better than barbarians. Only the Chalice has a glimmer of civilization left. After a hard day of training, you make your way back to your cell. You have another bout in the arena tomorrow and you need all your strength. If you have code A2, go to page 7, so otherwise another page. Well, we do have code A2, as you can see, because we picked it up a bit earlier. So, we're going to go to page 495. Okay, during your evening meal, one of your characters just wanders off. In this case, it was a brush I selected to wander off, and I had to go to page 285. You 285. You see a corner. You turn a corner to see Tumol, one of the thugs you bullied in the dungeon on your very first day. He is accompanied by another muscular man armed with a club. I told you I would get even with you, scum, he snarls, advancing menacingly towards you. I have 3 choices. Run for it, try to talk Tumol down, or raise your fists. In this case, I tried to talk him down because I didn't really want to fancy the fight. So I go to page 649. 649. It won't be easy to talk these brutes down. If your selected character is brash, which luckily it was, go to page 697. So as it was, I'm going to 697. You'll shake your head and agree with the slaves that your companions are uncouth brutes who do not understand the meaning of respect. You claim to be their well-beaten servant, bitter about your long service to them. The worst part about my companions is that they are all fully trained assassins from the House of Silence in Drake Hollow, you say sadly. They have bitter and vengeful spirits. Indeed, those that slight them die in the most dreadful ways. Tom goes par and blathers that his threat to beat you is merely a poor jest. It's difficult to conceal your smirk as he slinks away. So, looks like he had a bluff check there type thing, but obviously it worked. So, 157. Okay, 157. The sound of drums and crowds roaring echo in your ears as you are once again lined up in the gatehouse in preparation for your latest bout. I've got some weapons which I select, and once I'm equipped I go to page 170. You step out into the boiling heat. The sun scorches the sands under your bare feet. You are the first competitor in the arena and receive a roaring cheer from the crowd as you appear. High above you, the Iron King gazes down impressively, along the death engine standing unflinching by his side. You look across the heat-swept arena as the fire gate is opened. You cannot help but swallow as a pair of shaggy-haired desert lions come snarling out of the gate. Their manes are stained red with the blood of other victims, and they roar at you with the filthy yellow teeth. You must fight for your lives. Okay, so I basically fight the lions, and I managed to defeat them. Didn't use any spells because I know can't use spells in the arena, otherwise they basically cut out the tongues. Besides, I've only got the one spellcaster, and I need to keep her healthy. So I go to page 236. The cheers from the crowd resound across the arena as the final lion falls dead. You cannot help but stifle a tear at the death of the noble beast, crudely plucked from the wild to fight for the entertainment of a savage crowd. Fearing more bestial than even the lion, you are taken from the arena and disarmed again. Eager for another bowl of water to slake your aching thirst, you come past a sight even greater cruelty. Poor Medgarus is being charged at and struck by an angry guard. Enraged at receiving a splash of soup across his armour, the poor girl is on the ground in the shadow, nursing a bruise on her cheek as the guard pulls out his whip to punish her. So, I don't want to basically, I've seen the fight a bit heroic, so I could either keep out of it or dash to defence. Yeah, well, I went to a defence and that, being all heroic and all that. Yeah, that's something very heroic being locked in the slave arena, isn't it? So page 2812. Not too far. 812. You rush the guard, pulling him to the ground and kicking his whip away. Alas, more guards are never far away, and soon the room is filled with sweating, swearing soldiers who restrain and beat you as the other slaves look on. Each character loses 2 health points. If you take any character who goes below 1 health, or stay on 1 health, the guards not beat you to death this time. Eventually, you are released, blooded but not unbowed. Turn to page 700. You bend to help the injured Melagos, who tells you not to worry, I've had much worse, but you are gracious to help, she says, wincing as she smiles. Perhaps you would walk me to the kitchens. I fear my hands tremble too much to carry the soup. Since in Melagos too, you follow her down the poorly lit tunnels towards the kitchen. You are brave warriors and have kind hearts, she says. It's not right that you suffer and solidify here. There is a plan to abruptly shorten our sentence. If you would be free, follow me. Melagos makes an abrupt turn down a narrow tunnel that plunges into darkness. So, A. Follow her. B. Avoid the trouble and go back to our cells. Well, any sane person would find a chance to get out of this arena and the slavery earlier would take it. So let's follow her. 379. You make your way down the pitch black tunnel, relying on touch in the damp walls to guide you. You emerge into a small cell through which light streams weakly from a tiny arch high in the wall. In the cell you can see Chilong, your trader, and several other gladiator slaves. Welcome, my students, bows Chilong. He indicates Menegos. You come in good company, I see. I believe we can trust these warriors, announces Menegos. Tell them your plan, Chilong. Do they know what they're letting themselves in for? Who they fight for? We are all slaves here, you assure them. We fight for our freedom. That, and so much more, says Chilong, smiling. This is no mere slave girl. Standing before you is a reincarnation of the Everchild, the Queen of the Valley, the supreme sorceress herself. You look down at the dirty blonde waif. She speaks well, but could she really be a queen? The Everchild is a figure of legend, a story told to squires and children. Menegos sees the doubt in your eyes and places a finger in the soup bowl. She withdraws it and paints the walls with a thick soup, drawing strange symbols and wards, which begins to pulse and move as if under their own power. To your astonishment, she has drawn a spell up on the walls filled with arcane power. If you have any spellcasters in your team, they can learn the following spell. Well, I've picked up a new spell, but unfortunately I don't think I can actually add the spell into the app. Well, I guess I'll quickly delete and redo it. Then I can basically add it in there. It's a slight issue there, but I say the app is still work in progress. So you have to bear that in mind. It's still being pushed together with that. So we've got owl speech, magic cabinet. Okay. looks like the spell's not there. The spell I picked up was called Soothing Touch. It's a adventure or combat spell. So basically, it's a healing spell. I can restore 5 health points per cast. The other spells I've got, Animal Speech. It costs 50 silver. It can be used anytime in the adventure. I'm able to communicate with using the secret speech animals. And it says the text will tell you when I can cast a spell. So I'm sure there'll be times like, say if I come across any wild lions or anything, I might be able to talk to them. Magic Cabinet costs 100 silver and it's an adventure type, so I can use that anytime in the adventure. Same thing, basically I can summon a magic cabinet of purple wood, but I can store stuff in the vault, taking it in and taking it out. When it's done, the cabinet vanishes. It's sort of like a magic portal for storage. Got a combat spell called Poison Stream, which costs 50 silver, and it's 6 green poison jets from the hands. I can make 2 immediate attacks with a fighting score of 5 against 2 different opponents. And so the Soothing Touch, that's actually can be used in combat or any time of adventure. Hands to glow with divine energy, and one of the characters can restore 5 health points. But that's expensive because it costs 50 gold. So, actually, my apologies, it costs 50 silver. I misread it. I'll shift my page across so you guys can actually see what I've got. This is my notes from my which I'll start to use because I did the play testing before it came out. So you'll find these numbers here won't quite match to the actual numbers in the actual pages, but yeah, just bear with us while I line up. Here we go. So yeah, so we just found out the slave we helped, Midgrass, was actually the reincarnated form of the Everchild, the Queen of the Valley. With a wave of her hand, she Malagros basically bodies hidden energy and basically restores the health of all the characters up to full. If any of them had lost limbs, etc., or had tongues removed, they're restored as health. Basically, it's like a full reset. All the health, any damage to your roots, basically healed up. Any diseases or curses are also removed. So yeah, complete re-heal. So we're asking her how she becomes enslaved. So I have to go to page 629. So 629. She says, I'm not yet at my full potency, admits Everchild, running her hand through her filthy locks. In my eagerness to see the Iron King dethroned, I sided with a certain group of revolutionaries. Sadly, we were ambushed by the King's men, and there was no opportunity to free me to use my magic to turn the tide of battle. I opted to keep my identity secret until a more appropriate juncture. But are you indeed the Everchild reborn, as the legends say you insist? I believe so, she nods. I was born to common folk, and yet my mind is filled with memories, manners and skills from a past life. Even if I am not, I am determined to replace the Iron King's tyranny with even-handed justice. I am willing to take on the mantle of the Everchild, so why not take her name as well? Why do you not escape using your magic, you ask? It's not yet mighty enough for me to effect an escape on my own, he explains. Besides, a queen needs followers, and mine are imprisoned here. We will leave together or not at all. A noble sentiment, you admit, but how exactly do you plan to escape? Turn to page 743. Move that down a bit. Chilong steps forward, giving his seat to the other child. The arena is ancient and was once much bigger. There are vaults and tunnels that lead deep into the earth. We have, in secret, excavated one such tunnel. We cannot be sure where it leads to the surface, but we are willing to chance it. Why have you not gone already, you ask? We have no weapons, and there are creatures down there in the dark, mutters Chilong. We were driven back in our last venture. It is too dangerous to proceed unarmed. Unfortunately, the guards keep the weapons very well secured. They are not keen on allowing slave gladiators infested access to arms. How can we help, you ask? We need to get the weapons out of the gatehouse and into our hands, says Chilong. To do that, we need to stealth and gust distraction. Volunteer to get the weapons. Option 1. Option 2. Back out the risky escape plan. Or option 3. Inform the guards of every child's plans. Well, we've already basically made our way into the situation. It seems a good chance to escape. So let's go get the weapons. So I've got to go to page 191. In order to get the weapons, I need to split up the party. Choose up to 3 party members to perform the distraction and up to 2 party members to steal the weapons. You must have at least 1 party member performing each mission. Once you've decided who will do which task, turn to page 169. Okay, so I'm splitting the party between say Brash and Tasha. Okay, give me a sec. Just so I split the parts between Brush and Tasha. They go off to get the weapons while the other guys, Akira and Amelia, basically just stay with the other child. So I'm going to page 169. So now we need to a distraction team must divert the guards' attention from the post at the gatehouse. What tactic do you think is best? A. Start a fight among yourselves. You need at least 2 characters assigned to the distraction. Or B. Attempt to seduce the guards. That's not going to work. And C. Pretend to be a messenger and say the captain needs them urgently. Well, in this case, I pretended to be the messenger. So yeah, I had to go to 875. Okay. 875. Only the most consummate liar could get away with this one. If Brash is in the destruction team, turn to page 75. Well, looking for us, we had Brash in the team. So I'm going to go to page 35. Oops. 35. You say the captain wishes to see us, and he mentioned a promotion, presses the guard. Apparently his current lieutenant is not up to scratch, says Shugs Brash. He's asked to see other guards as well. I imagine the first to see the captain will probably get the promotion. The guards push past you in their eagerness to get to the captain's office. Turn to page 456. But note that your destruction team joined up with the weapons team for all future checks. So 456. Okay, the door to the gatehouse is now unguarded, and your weapons team can now approach. I think I might have made a slight error there with the characters. Yeah, I thought the destruction team was the ones going for the weapons and that, but I'm carrying on because I've already made that decision, and I'm not going to roll back unless I die. Basically, if people are asking about possible saves, so now if you have like a complete team wipe where all 4 characters die, well, if 4 die, or 4 characters die, it is literally game over. There's no way you can continue. But if you lose 1 or 2, you can get additional characters like from the slave markets and other situations, I assume, in the book, which I haven't actually got to yet. But yeah, because when I did my first few attempts of the playthrough back when I was testing the Legendary Kingdom Feather Bones book, I admit I got a couple of sessions where I totally wiped or ended up being stuck where I needed to split the party and I only had like 1 character left. So I just rolled back to an earlier save, basically page I got to, made like a save point, and then we continued on from there. So I just started back from the beginning. So yeah, page 456. The door to the gatehouse is now unguarded, and the weapons stealing team can now approach. The only obstacle is the gatehouse door, which is locked at all times. Do you want to steal a key from the overseer's office, or attempt to force the door? I basically attempted to steal the key. So that's 393. The overseer is not present, but guards and servants walk by the door frequently. You need to be in and out as quick as possible. Multiple people might be spotted, so you only have 1 party member in the weapons team can do this task. If you succeed, go to 147. Well, I did manage to steal the key. So I'm going to go to page 147. With perfect timing, you slip into the room. Jeremy open the overseer's table drawer and grab the key. You emerge just in time, ducking into a darkened corner as a pair of guards wander by. Once they've passed, you creep back to the gatehouse door, unlocking it and entering. Page 611. Okay. The weapons gatehouse door is open to you and can take any of the following items, which pretty much I strip what I can. There's hide armor, shield, mold, iron short sword, and 4 crude blades. There's also, grab a load of crude weapons for the Everchild and their followers. Before you flee the gatehouse, close the door behind you. Go to page 317. Another big chapter. 317. Time is of the essence. You quickly regroup and with your companions and make your way down the darker tunnels to the dig site. A tiny quarterback has been painstakingly carved out of the wall, concealed by a few broken barrels. The Everchild, Leo, and your 3 other companions are here, delighted to see you as you come bearing armfuls of weapons. They have not been idle, securing torches and packs stuffed with water skins and food supplies. What follows will not be easy, she warns, as the tunnels are far from safe. But with your help, we might just stand a chance. At a nod from the Everchild, Chilling descends into the tunnel first. With you following tight behind, the flames from your torches lick the low roof of the hand-dug tunnels, and the space is claustrophobic in the extreme. To your delight, the tunnel eventually breaks through into an ancient chamber, half flooded with 2 archtrack exits. The walls are painted in old flecks of colour, displaying an ancient city dominated by a tall palace. The palace of my ancestors still stands, notices the Everchild as he examines the decaying mural with you. Much of the rest of the city is a little better than mud bricks hovels now. There is much work to be done. You examine the exits from the chamber, one at the back of the waterlogged chamber, which seems to descend down into yet even more murky water. A dry exit looks most logical, but I wonder where the water-filled one leads, muses the Everchild. Options. Option 1. Were you offered to scout out the watery arch, or you suggest to head safely through the drier archway? Well, I decided to go for a swim. You never know, you need to check each way as you're going. So, you've got to go to page 438. So I've got to choose a card to explore the watery tunnel. As you can see, I volunteered at Tasha. So Tasha basically goes for a swim. Page 678. Okay, give me a sec while I have a quick swig of drink here. Talking a lot gives you a dry throat. Okay, 678. You wade into the still cold water, holding your torch aloft as you make your way down the slippery passageway. Eventually the water level gets too high. To proceed, you'll have to dive into the water and swim down. But who knows where the pitch black tunnel will lead. If you wish to swim, make the following checks. Which basically it's a survival check, which I managed to do, and I managed to succeed. So I had to go to page 503. Holding your breath, you plunge into the cold water, swimming through the black tunnel. Eventually you spy the tiniest glimpse of light and swim onwards, your lungs bursting. You enter a small but tall chamber filled with half-submerged, smashed pottery. Light streams through a tiny crack in the ceiling and you hear the sounds of the city high above you. The walls are unscalable, but searching a broken vases net you 40 silver pieces and a handsome brooch, which is additional charisma. Pleased for your find, you swim back to the other child and make your report. Satisfied that the only way to go is through the dry ash, she beckons you onwards. So page 523. You emerge into a large chamber filled with cobwebs, which incinerated such as torches. The floor of the chamber is hard to collapse, and in the small crevice you can make out the eggs of giant spiders heaped upon one another. The adult spiders lurk in the ceiling corners of the chamber, waiting patiently for the chance to strike. You could make your way carefully through the crevice, since slope rubble is piled up on either side of the drop, but you would have to carefully navigate past the eggs. You also spot a narrow ledge around the crevice that might allow you to avoid the crevice completely, provided you all make it across without falling. Or perhaps it'd be wiser to attack the spiders while you're on firm ground and get the battle out of the way. Option 1, creep through the crevice. Option 2, sneak along the edge. Or option 3, provoke the spiders into battle. Well, I don't like spiders, yes, big or small, so we're going to sneak along the edge. So 895. Okay, so you place your one nurse foot in front of the other as you begin to edge around the pit. There's a team check, stealth check, which I passed. And yeah, so we're going to page 174. Okay, 174. The spiders above you merely watch as you carefully shuffle along the thin crumbling ledge. Midway, a part of the ledge flakes away, but you manage to keep your footing until you reach the far end. Soon you have all crossed. The spiders wary approaching such a large flame carrying prey. Another chamber beckons to the other side. Go to page 347. Okay. You emerge into a tunnel that soon splits into two. One route leads down slightly and the other slopes up. Ancient writing crosses the walls and the other child calls for more light as she examines it. A downward slope leads to an old armory, she comments. Upwards was a changing room. There is no indication which route leads out, however. So option A, go down to the armory. Option B, up towards changing rooms. Okay. So we're going up to the changing rooms. So that's 883. Benches line the walls of the small room, each with a number of hooks upon which hang mouldy rags. Only one garment has weathered the test of time, a warm cloak, which gives you a +1 to survival. So we take it and then continue down the tunnel to page 647. 647. Voices echo down the tunnel as you emerge onto the balcony of a large chamber. You wave the Everchild and her supporters down as you creep forward to take a look. Peering over the balcony railing, you see a dozen of rough-looking characters armed with daggers, clubs, and other similar weapons. Around them are various chests and crates with the names of several different company brands on them. It is clear that you've stumbled upon the thieves' hideout. Their thwarted faces are lit by a large central fire in the chamber. Option 1. Call out and approach them peacefully. Option 2. Launch a surprise attack on the rogues. Well, we're basically against the king with a potential queen with us, so we need all the allies we can get. So we're going to approach them peacefully and hopefully make allies out of them. 187. The rogues react with surprise and alarm as you stand up and make your way down the ladder that links the balcony to the ground floor. Evidently, they have never received visitors before. I wonder why that might be. You attempt to calm them, letting them know that you mean them no harm. It's a charisma team check, which I was successful in passing. So let's bring that up. So I need to go to page 430. When I find the actual page, here it is. 430. You convince the thieves that you are not dangerous, nor are you agents of the Iron King. The slave guard assures them that you are speaking the truth, and instead you are even offered some decent hospitality in the form of beer and bread. Each party member can restore 2 health points. The thieves' leader Brecken reveals that they are downtrodden citizens of Saltdead, and that they only prey on the merchants and nobles who support the king's rule. But the slaves have nothing to fear from us, he assures you. If you wish, we can provide you with some spare clothing to help conceal your identity in the city. That would be most kind, thank you, Brecken, nods the other child. You show greater chivalry than your monarch. A plague-ridden Draenuk shows more grace than our king, laughs Brecken, but thank you, girl, for your compliment. You can see that the Everchild would dearly love to share her secret with Brecken, but wisely holds her tongue, instead asking if thieves could show you all a safe route out of the ruined tunnels. Brecken agrees, escorting you into the old storm drains that lie beneath the city, and to a drain cover that leads to an isolated alleyway. You have gained a useful ally, gain code A5. So you now have 2 codes, A2 and A5. So then I've got to go to page 41. Okay. Uh, 41. Dazzling sunlight almost blinds you as you emerge into daylight. You're in a sandy, secluded alleyway. The sounds of the marketplace hawkers reach your ears, and you quickly help the Everchild out of the drains, hiding her behind some tall baskets as you check for the guards. We are free, she gasps. I feared I might die in that terrible place. What we do now, you ask? You cannot stay in the city. No, here we shall divide for safety, she agrees. Chilong can look after me from here on in. I cannot thank you enough for the safe delivery of myself and my followers. I can give you no reward, and you owe me nothing, but... You silence her as you duck behind the baskets. A guard patrol of men in gleaming bronze armour clang past, weakly shaped halberds in their grasp. The bronze guard hisses along. The elite warriors are the bootlickers of the Iron King. Their armour is supposedly enchanted, dug up from the place of his faults by the Iron King's servants. They are still met underneath, you growl. If you hate tyranny, I would see justice restored. come find me in the Cold River Inn in Lithuania. Lithuanith explores the Everchild. That's a weird name to pronounce. The path to freedom is long and difficult, but together we can find a way to end the bloody reign of Iron King forever. The coast is clear, and Chulong quickly bows to you. We must go before the general alarm is raised. You have my thanks. Come, Majesty. At that, the Everchild dons a cowl over her head and slips into the crowd with her followers. Gain code A6. So that's 3 codes we've got now. You experience in the arena have taught you much. If this is your first Legendary Kingdoms book your party members have played, you may raise the skill, fighting stealth, law center by 1 point for each of your characters. If you explore the other books first, your party members can increase their maximum house score by 1 point each. But as it's the first one I've done, I basically increased their skills. Turn to page 313. You may note here I've actually got a save point Soul Dead entered. These are what I call the manual save points. You've basically made like a snapshot of what weapons, coin, health etc. you've got. So if you do a wipe, you have a save point to fall back on. Say you're going back to the very beginning. Okay, so 313. You stumble through the busy streets of Saltdad, pushed hither and thither by the bursting crowds. By accident, you crash into a emerging car in a box of nails and bolts. Yeah, sorry, I got a bit confused there. I'll start again. 313. You stumble through the busy streets of Saltdad and pushed hither and thither by the buzzing crowds. By accident, you crash into a merchant carrying a box of nails and bolts. Spinning his infantry across the dusty ground. Fortunately, he's a merry fellow and last instant off. His name is Hammond, and once you have finished scrabbling dirt to retrieve his spilt goods, he insists you join him for coffee at a local part of the show where there are no hard feelings. Drinking down the oddly bitter liquid, you ask if there is any opportunity to earn money in the valley. Why, Saltdad itself is a city of boundless adventures and opportunity, exclaims Hammond. Try exploring the many streets and alleys in the city. There are plenty of people who need help these days. I've heard that the master of the salt mines in the northeast is looking for a muscular sort to help him with a few problems, so you might consider heading east if you like to avoid the city. If you're after a real adventure, I hear tell that some crazy foreigners have set up an expeditionary guild in the city of Glasbroth. Apparently they are searching in the jungle for something. Although what they could find out in hell I cannot imagine. It's getting late. You thank Hammond for his courtesy and head to the centre of the city. Page 75. Okay. 75. Saltstead is a city of tumble-down mud brick houses clustered in claustrophobic alleyways. Above those ragtag structures stands a half-collapsed palace, a myriad masterpiece that has seen better days. Amidst the squalor there is wealth to be found, for Saltstead produces the major export of the valley, rock salt, chiselling out of the winding mines to the east of the city. The Wake West Road runs through the heart of the city, once a paved highway, now a poorly maintained tumble of stone, which nevertheless allows wagons and carts to drag themselves above the desert stands. Where the road cuts through the city stands the marketplaces, inns, slave markets, and other services the city is famed for. A constant chatter of voices is heard at all times, for Saltdad never closes its place of business, even in the dead of night. So we have a few options here, quite a few. we're basically at the centre crossroads of the city. So let's go to first option is basically going to the inn. So I'm going to go to page 172. Okay, you find lodging at a large inn, the Crown Inn, which serves coffee and warm beer in a courtyard surrounded by 10 rooms. For every 5 silver coins you spend, each party member can restore 1 health point. Spellcasters can also spend silver here to recharge their spells, purchasing components from the nearby marketplace and going about their meditation in the privacy of their rooms. During your stay, you ask about the nearby landmarks. The Black Wall is a place of ill reputation combined with serving rich. No one knows why it was built or what it is walling off, since it is easy to go around. Still, those who become obsessed with it tend to disappear, never to be seen again. Go back to 75. Which is the centre of the city. Okay, so we got a bit of information there. Didn't really have much coin to spend on the healing up, but we're fully healed anyway from the average hold earlier. So let's go have a look at the marketplace. 798. $798. Okay. The marketplace of Salted reaches across the West Road and is a clottery of sound. Merchants fly their arms, sometimes physically grabbing you to look upon their wares. Items without a buy price are not available here. All prices are in silver coins. You can only buy an item if it has a listed buy price. Once you finish here, turn to page 75. Okay, shopping time. Or should I say selling. Sold a few things and that, and got a few extra things. Bit of trading. So we've got crude blades, mauls, iron short swords, iron great sword, steel long sword, steel great sword, shield, hide armor, bone armor, bronze armor, soft boots, reference book, warm cloak, handsome brooch, pry bar, incense, bluestone, engagement ring, fire of poison, drain of corn, and lizard hide. So that's basically what's on that marketplace. There is prices, and a big chunk of the equipment has bonuses to fighting, stealth, etc. So so that's the market, the to buy and the sell. Next we go back to 75 and then head out to the slave market. 326. Okay, 326. Saltdown slave market sell fresh fish. The Saltdown slave market sell flesh from all across the valley. By flesh, I presume to mean slaves. Some are unfortunate who have crossed the jealous desert kings. Others have been plucked, dying from dehydration from the waterless wastes. Most are miserable-looking serfs in rags and heavy chains. But every so often, a promising candidate will show up. If you have fewer than 4 party members in your team, you may recruit some more from the slave market. either another name character or a character you generate yourself using the advanced rules on the back of the book. You can never have a character with the same name appear twice in your party. If, for instance, Sir Jessica Danis died at any time during the adventure, you cannot have her again in the same party. It costs 200 silver coins to buy another party member, and they start with no equipment. Remember that a party member without a single weapon has their fighting score reduced by 1 in combat. That's a lot of money. But that is one of the ways you can refill your party if you've had some of them been killed in combat, etc. So going back to the central point. Okay, well, I could go to the Barracks of Bronze Guard, the City Guard, Lords of the King, but as some kind of be wanted from them an escaped slave, I think that'd be a bad idea, so I decided not to go there. I also didn't want to go to the Temple of Kurus, because... No, correction. I did go to the temple. I'm misreading this. So, the Temple of Kurus, Cursus, is page 770. 770. There's a lot of pages in this book. The Temple of Kurus is a flat-topped black stone ziggurat some 3 stories high. Inside its cool depths, incense burns, and the ragged poor beg for mercy from the hard-faced priests of Kurus, gods of judgment. If you have any incense, you may exchange some for a blessing from the priest. Find a party member with the lowest staff score in the team and increase the staff by 1 point. You may also receive some ritual scarring. These are runes sacred to the character carved across your chest. The priests are bound to perform this service for any who request it. If one of your party members wants some ritual scarring, they must leave 1 point of health permanently. Add the ritual scarring curse to the note section in the character box. Why would someone want to get a symbol scraped into their chest? I have no idea, but I suppose it's possible for some reason or other. So back to 75, the central point in the city. Okay. So yeah, as we visit one temple, we're going to look at the other temple. We've got to visit the temple of Kalu, K-A-L-U, which is 382. If you have code A1, I do not have code A1, so I've got to carry on. If not, read on. The temple of Kalu is nothing more than a pile of rubble. The religion has been decreed heresy by the Patriarch of Callus, and the temple has been torn down. Mystified at this bizarre cemetery, returned to the city centre. So, for some reason, one temple religious order didn't like the other religious temple order. That's not going to go any good, is it? Okay. Next option on our list, short of leaving the city, is to track down the local thieves. So page 179. It would be difficult indeed to track down the local thieves without, the Thieves Guild without contact, but luckily we have code A5, which we picked up when we made friends with them in the underground ruins. So we are going to page 216. You make your way under the city to see Brecken, the leader of the Thales gang you encountered in the tunnels beneath the arena. He is pleased to see you again and celebrates the occasion by opening a bottle of wine. If you have code A10, turn to 663. I do not believe we have code A10. I will just check. No. Haven't been given that one just yet. It was quite a feast you sneaking out of slow arena like quite a feat you sneaking out of the socked out arena like that. Moses brewing over a glass of wine. It's a shame to waste such talents merely on matters of survival. Perhaps you'll be willing to do a little wealth redistribution, namely from the silver stores of the rich man into the pockets of the poor, in other words, us. What's your job? You ask neutrally. The city jeweller, seller, a former chancellor of the Iron King, says Brecken. He is as rich as the king himself. We go in, grab everything we can, and get out. Of course, his brother is a sorcerer, so to say the whole place is protected by magical defences. That's where you come in. You help us deal with the magic, and we'll help you get through the more mundane protections like locks and stubborn guards. We split the rewards 50-50. Deal? So option A, agree to the highest. Option B, politely decline. Well, we need coins to survive, so let's go for it. So 617. Let's go and rob some rich person. That evening, you gather in a wealthy area of the city, where taller buildings made of stone and wood stand in the shadow of the palace. A little bronze guard do patrol this part of the city. Most of the wealthier locals employ private guards to protect their valuables. Brecken's thieves have already dealt with the guard dogs that patrol the grounds of the Chancellor's house with poisoned meat. Now that the way house is clear, gain code A10. So now we've got A10, so we need that if we come back to him later. The front door is scarred with magical wards, says Brecken. Only Scheller or his steward can open it, unless you think you might be able to disenchant it. Otherwise, there are upper floor windows. I'll leave my team to scale the walls. You can join us, or hand in the door, or maybe do both. It's up to you. Decide how many of your party will deal with the magic door, and how many will help scaling the walls. You can assign everyone to one task, or split the team between both. So let's see, what did we do? I split my party. Have Brash and Amelia look at the door, which I had to do a law check. So by assigning people to the front door, it's 728. 728. Here we go. One sec, did I read that page right? Just show you what the right a page. Don't know if I got it right. Yeah, I basically read the wrong page. I've got go to page 322 if you've got anyone assigned to the front door. So 322. I thought I hit a wrong turn there. For some reason I was getting everybody climbing the walls. That weren't what I did. Okay, 322. You approach the door carefully, examine the mystic carvings carved around its edge. Once those party members assigned to the door may contribute to this check. So it's a law team check. Another had a medium brash. We passed the check and basically carried on to the next one. So 420. So 420, you carefully mark the strange symbols around the door, being careful not to trigger the effect early. Eventually the runes are ruined and lose their power. To your delight, the door merely clicks open. There's not so much as a conventional lock upon them. You step into a dark hallway, a magnificent flight of carved stairs leads up to the top floor. Rows of books line the walls in antique cases. Nearby, a solid gold candlestick looks a tempting grab. Do you want to A, examine the bookcase, or B, snatch the golden candlestick, or C, head up the stairs? Well, I basically pick up the candlestick, stick it in my bag. It's gold, worth something. 644. So, yep, it looks valuable. The gold candlestick looks valuable, but ordinary. You can add it to your equipment, which I did. Examine the bookcase or head upstairs. So I'm going to examine the bookcase, which is 230. The bookcase contains a reference number of valuable terms, including a reference book, which gives law +1. It's also interesting to on herb law. You flick through it briefly. A compound, a reference to the leopard jungles here in the Valley of the Bones. It is well known that the yellow holograph flower is proof against old snakes, even the wicked snake man in the Temple of the Unbroken, who react poorly to its pungent perfume. Interesting. You may take the reference book. You grab a few more of the precious tombs as well. Snatch the candlestick if you haven't already, which I've already got. So the only thing left to do is head upstairs to page 92. Hope you guys are enjoying this story as we're going through. Sorry about my reading ability, but I'm doing the best I can. Okay, 92. You creep up the stairs and reach a long landing. Peering out of the window, you can see Brecken and the wall climbing team struggling to pry open the windows. With a grin, you undo the latch, allowing the wall climbers easy access to the house. For the rest of the break-in, when you make team chats, you can use the skill and combat abilities of the entire team, not just the wall climbing team. So I don't know what they needed the combat abilities for, but I'm sure we'd have found out if we went the other way. So 116. Okay. Oops, went a bit too far on that one. Did I just lose the page I was on? I think I did. Yeah, I've totally got no idea where the hell I've come from. Just bear with me while I kind of retrace where I've basically got to. Because literally I've lost the page I was on. So let's go back to key point 75 and we go through that little section I just did. I apologise, just the page has moved and I lost the track of what page I was on. Right. Won't take long because I'm just skipping through the pages. Right. Okay. I just seem to be struggling to track down where I was, so just bear with me, guys. I've got to find the page. And then we will continue our journey. And note how you. This is what I suggest you note down the page numbers you did when you basically would go through it. Unfortunately, because my numbers were from before the actual main book came out, mine's not quite matching up. But I'm getting there slowly. There we go. Back to where we were, 116. Yeah, I don't know whether I had that. I must have turned to the wrong page. So, quick recap after that little bit there. Basically, we met up with the thieves and we agreed to a heist into this rich gem etymologist, person with gems, I think, or yours. Two more characters, basically, Brash and Amelia went through the front door, managed to break the magical lock and go in, steal some books and golden candlestick before they went upstairs and opened the window for the others to rejoin them. Everything's now together. So we're now on page 116, which basically carries on. You creep across the landing, looting rooms as you go, and members of the wall climbing team may help you with the check. Well, we did a stealth team check, and we were successful. And basically went to page 22. So avoiding Cheddar's room, you still, well, I presume he's asleep. You still manage to secure a pretty hoard of items. You may take any of the following. Well, let me see, just bring up the things that we actually took. Okay, so we took the jewelry box, the calligraphy ink, a gold portrait, and one scorpion. There was a idol available, silver idol available as well, but that's probably religious related. So, as the gods are probably real or something in this world, I don't want to risk it, so I'm leaving the idol behind. You emerge with Bracken back onto the landing and decide with the mutual lot that you push your luck far enough in the house and you make your way back out of the windows and onto the streets of the city. 833. Okay. 833. Did any of your party members have a silver idol written on the sheet? No, we decided to leave it because of possible religious significance. Alas, the idol has been cursed. So luckily we managed to avoid that curse. So I would have lost one survival skill permanently, but we managed to avoid that because of just leaving it. Ignorant of this loss for the moment, you identify the storm drains of the salted with the ill-gotten gains, lay out your fables, which Brecker will estimate into cash value. So, as you can see, I've already added them all together. The 625 silver pieces is basically what we decided to sell. Bracker's gang also found 500 silver pieces worth of goods. You're presented with 250 silver pieces. Now you add up all the value of your goods and half the result, which is how much extra money you have made on a heist. Which is what I came up with the 625. Did the calculation ahead of time. Which you can see just here. So, yeah. I'm basically, so I'm going back to page 75, the centre of the city again. You probably get used to these page turns on the mic and that. So yeah, looking around, basically we've been to most places, apart from just exploring the city, which is page 471. Okay. Do you have code A1? No. Do you have code A7? No, we don't have code A7 or code A13. God, that's a lot of codes in that section. Do you have code A14? No. Okay, so we're redone. You walk the streets of Soledad, watching the bronze ragged people and avoid the sinister bronze guard patrols where you can. Eventually you come upon a passing girl less than 20 summers old, seated upon an upturned barrel and weeping pitifully. The heartless folk of Soledad ignore her, some going so far as to cross the other side of the street to avoid her. So gain the code A14. Okay, I haven't actually got that one. So let's add A14 to the codes. So okay. So yeah, basically you got two options: ask her what's wrong or ignore her. Well, you're gonna ask her what's wrong because she's crying for some reason. 829. Plus I'm a softie at heart. 829. Yeah, 829. The girl is Akina, a serving girl for Lady Cullis in the wealthy part of the city. She is crying because she has fallen in love with a nobleman called Demuncia. Apparently she stole a dress on her lady to go dancing at the feast of Cullis. Entranced by her beauty and the good manners she learned from her service, Duca fell in love with Akina. She offended there, but Akina, flattered by her attention, continued to borrow dresses from her lady so she could appear at other social gatherings before him. At the last meeting, he proposed to her, offering her a favourable engagement ring. Foolishly, she accepted, and after that, everything went drastically wrong. Agents from Dulca's family investigated Akira, discovering her humble origins. Dulca was furious at being tricked and demanding the return of the ring. Alas, Akina's house was robbed, and the engagement ring went missing. Naturally, Jaloka presumed that Akina sold the ring, so his rage deepens. Jaloka has demanded that Akina presented herself at his house to be tortured and killed. To apply pressure, he has kidnapped her beloved aunt, who now lies in chains in Jaloka's dungeon. A pretty situation indeed. Offer to negotiate with Dokuma on Akina's behalf, or attempt to rescue Akina's aunt from the dungeon, or challenge Dokuma to a duel for his knavish behaviour, or do you have no intention of getting involved? Well, damsel in distress, I guess. Let's go rescue the aunt. I think that's what I did. Yeah, I went to rescue the aunt. So, page 524. In the dead of the night, you approach Dolcoma's house in the rich quarter of the city. It is a red-roofed cubicle block of stone and rough cement, with lackluster guard patrols orbiting the estate at uneven intervals. Despite what looks to be an outdoor entrance to the basement, a large trapdoor wide enough to roll barrels into. Waiting for the right moment, you dash into the basement doors, some of you keeping watch while others attempt to break the padlock into the basement. You have to do an individual fighting check, basically to get in. I managed to pass that and succeed by breaking the lock of the door and sneaking into the cellar, I assume. So 766. You clamber into the basement, closing the trap behind you with the underground chamber. Within the underground chamber, you can see a middle-aged woman chained to a hook in the ceiling. To imagine her, it's a large, fat guard armed with a curved blade. Release her, fellow, you suspect. Draw on your weapon. The fat fellow draws the scimitar with overpowering confidence, spinning the blade in his hands. He yowled. No, death first, he laughs. You met your match, rogues. Your opponent is Latour the Blade Master. Note, he will attack twice each round, and you must assign the damage of the second attack to a different character to the first. If you win, you can take his steel scimitar, which has a fighting bonus of +2. Well, it was a long fight, but I managed to defeat him, and I quickly release the art and dash into the night, which is page 68. Akinyi excited days as you return her aunt to the family home. She thanks you profusely. I do not understand why strangers would perform such kindness for me, but you have my eternal thanks. She smiles. She presents you with some fine boots, which is a South +2 bonus. These were cast out by my lady because one has a tiny scuff on the heel, says Akinyi. I shall never wear noble garments again. Let them be worn by loads of noble heart, such as you. You bow and take your leave. Go back to page 75. So you're back at the centre of the city, which I'm not going to read through again. It's all the choices like the inn, the marketplace, etc. I'm selling a mould for the silver because I've got a better weapon with the scimitar, and that is where I saved it because that is as far as I got to the end of my story. I will be doing a follow-on episode, so to speak, but that one will be exploring the adventure, the story, along with all of you, because I have not got past this point. Because if you have the demo, sample, which you can download from the website, from Spider-Man Games, then yeah, it's a case of you can get all of what I've just done. So here's the sample, spidermangames.com, and you go along to Legendary Kingdoms. Yeah, the sample has all the arena up to the city which we've just done, but you can't actually leave the city. Once you purchase the actual book, you can progress out of the city into the countryside and, well, desert, I suppose, because it's desert at the moment, and see where you end up. So, with regards to that, yeah, I'm going to call this part 1 of the Legendary Kingdoms Valley of Bones walkthrough to an end, and hopefully you'll like it. So give me a thumbs up and follow us as I carry on the story going forward. Thank you for listening.